Mark Lotman, thanks for sitting down with us today.
You're welcome.
The council is looking closely at economic-based jobs for those of us who don't work in your field, who don't talk about jobs every day. Why do those matter?
Well, when we're talking about job creation, they actually come and go from your economy in quanta of 3. So there are these class of jobs we call economic-based jobs, where the products and services produced are sold outside the economy, or the money used to pay for the salaries for those workers comes from outside, and it makes the economy bigger, makes the economy pie bigger. The other class of jobs are non-economic based, and those are jobs where the products and services produced are sold to other members of the economy here. And so you can't really grow your economy or create jobs by just growing the service sector. Otherwise, you could solve all your unemployment problems by opening up 10,000 laundromats.
And that's not happening right now in Albuquerque. How many new jobs do we need right now?
Well, in the Albuquerque metro area, over the next 10 years, we're going to need 52 to 5,600 economic-based jobs a year.
So those would also come, though, with those service jobs, with restaurants, laundromats, other kinds of local services.
Yes, those would all, you would carry, in Albuquerque, for every 15 economic-based jobs you get 35 service sector jobs. So 15,000 gets you 35, that's a total of 50. And that's just about how many we need. So we're looking at needing, to generate 5,200 economic-based jobs a year.
Numbers, I'm going to admit numbers are hard for me. I'm not a numbers kind of person myself, but it seems like, we have jobs with the labs. We have things coming in from out of state all the time. Why is that not working and growing our economy?
Well, there's the need number, how many jobs economic-based jobs you need, has 3 factors to it. It's how many are you going to need for the extra people you're going to have here. So if your population is going to grow, a little less than half the population needs jobs. So you need economic-based jobs for them. You need to close your current unemployment gap if you have one. So you need the economic-based jobs created to make up the unemployment gap. But the biggest number is you have to make up for the jobs you're going to lose in the next 10 years. And that's been Albuquerque's problem the last 6, 7, 8 years, is we've been losing jobs at a higher rate than we ever have before, mostly because of the downsizing of the federal sector and losses in manufacturing.
You're working with politicians, elected officials, folks from the legislature. Every elected official wants to say that they brought in more jobs. And so how are you bringing them together, these people from different political perspectives, to talk about the science, to talk about the research and the background and what needs to happen next?
Well, in 2013, the Speaker of the House, Ken Martinez, and Pro Tem of the Senate, Mary Kay Papin, started this thing called the Legislative Jobs Council. It's an interim committee that meets from June until December and has been, meets once a month and spends a whole day deliberating on what's it's going to take to get the state economy back to full employment where it was in 2007. And so we're entering the 3rd year of this odyssey, and it's been really interesting. I don't think anybody thought it would be this productive, but essentially what we do is take them off the dais and we set them up in a town hall setting with a bunch of stakeholders and citizens. The meetings have been open up until now and still are. And we asked them basically the Shark Tank questions. How many economic-based jobs do we need in each county, in each region, and aggregate it for the whole state? So how many economic-based jobs do you have to create? What industry sectors could those economic-based jobs come in? So we've estimated those. And then what factors of production gaps are going to stop us from creating those jobs? So do we have enough land zoned the right way, priced the right way? Do we have enough buildings? Do we have enough capital? Do we have enough qualified workers? Do we have enough bandwidth? Are our sales and marketing programs scaled to manage the number of leads and suspects and work the number of cases? And so now we're vetting all of that, and we're pushing it all into an automated database that will give anybody that logs on a sense of how many jobs we need, what industry sectors we can get them in, and what big resource issues have to be solved for us to have a chance of getting there. And then at the end of this is the question for the legislature is, are any of these solutions, these resource gaps, solvable by legislative action? So some of it's business climate issues, some of it, so the big issue last year was the LEDA program, this Local Economic Development Act, which is a $50 million closing fund for economic development deals. And $50 million gets you 5,000 economic base jobs that you wouldn't otherwise get. And so
By bringing in companies from outside of New Mexico.
that's for mostly for the recruiting, which is only one of 8 theaters or program areas for economic development. You've got tourism, you've got the startup sector where we're trying to start new companies. There's the film and digital media sector. So there's a number of sectors, and we're now, this year, we're going through each sector and we're convening the council along with the major players in those theaters, and getting at, how the dimensions of those programs and where they're short for meeting these jobs goals.
I've heard some folks say before that we need manufacturing in New Mexico. That is the answer. What do you say to that?
Well, manufacturing is one of the economic base sectors that we need to grow. It's been actually shrinking. And it looks like manufacturing is coming back to the U.S. A lot of it got offshored in the last 20 years, and for a variety of reasons, the U.S. is more attractive now, and we're starting to get it back. Problem is, a lot of it's been automated, and a lot of the manufacturing jobs that are coming back are automated, so they're not as the transactions when we land a manufacturing operation may not have as many jobs as it did 10 or 20 years ago.
Fewer people.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of the downsizing at Intel. It's just been their production has dropped off too, but most of it's just been they've been automating the facility out there.
Where are some promising areas that the council's identified so far? Some industries or these sectors where you could say we could get a lot more of these economic-based jobs that we really need to grow the economy?
Well, I think probably the areas with the most promise, actually it's pretty evenly spread across all 13 or 14 sectors. Kind of the new ones are this area we call solo work. There's a lot of people doing economic-based work from their homes or from a mobile platform where they're not going to a centralized workplace every day. And as long as they're billing somebody from out of state, there's like a job at Intel. So that's one sector, and we don't really have any programs set up for it. So the Jobs Council is advocating a pilot program to test that program out. Another area is retirement. So if you think about it, a person that works their lifetime in California earns a pension and creates some net worth, and then leaves California to move to one of our communities here in New Mexico.
Santa Fe.
And continues to spend, well, Santa Fe, Ruidoso, Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, Deming, could be anywhere. They will come to the community, they'll buy a house, and they'll start spending money like they have a job. And the money's coming in from outside, so it's technically economic base. So we're working with the Home Builders Association of Central New Mexico, John Garcia's group, and defining that sector for an economic base strategy.
This idea of the accountability of measuring the jobs, of making that information public, sounds like that could really be a game changer when it comes to lawmakers and their discussions in Santa Fe.
Yeah, actually, it's probably the biggest problem the economic development profession has right now is we don't have a coherent way of measuring the results of all these efforts going on. There's really quite a bit of time and effort going in at the local level and the state level trying to get jobs created, but we don't have a good, clean way of measuring. So it's one of the other challenges of this Jobs Council was to come up with a back-end accounting system for could we measure job creation better and get a return on investment metric for these investments we're making. So we give tax incentives, and we're going to invest LEDA funding, and then we have the costs of the programs themselves. So it's, you need both what they call longitudinal and attribution metrics. Longitudinal are, you make an announcement that a company's coming and they're going to create 2,000 jobs. In year 1, they might only have 20. In year 5, they might only have 600. When do they get 2,000? And and how many jobs have you created every year. That's the longitudinal part. And we don't have good systems for tracking that. And then the attribution is, if you ran a marketing program for a year aimed at a certain industry sector, how many leads did you generate and how many companies moved here because of this program effort? We don't really have good, clean metrics for that either. So we're trying to set these different theaters up in a system, in a reporting system that will allow us to start capturing some of that. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be way better than what we have now. If we don't do it, it's pretty hard to claim or build a strategic effort to grow the job base. What you end up doing is funding all these programs out of money that you have left over at the end of the year if you have a surplus. If you don't, you don't put the money in, and so the programs aren't consistent. So we're hoping this starts giving everybody a kind of consensus picture of how many jobs we need, where we can get them, and how the programs that are tasked for creating the jobs are doing.
Mark, thanks for sitting down with me. We'll have to have you back again.
Be glad to.